Who is Valon?
Okay, so crazy thing is I've been rapping since I didn't even understand what rapping was, but I became a Christian rapper upon completing school, right? Prior to being a Christian rapper, I would go by the name Valencetti, and then my friends cut it short. I started to call me Valon, so it kind of stuck, and that was it. You know what I mean? So Valon.
Why do you do music?
Okay, I started doing music with the main purpose of putting my city on the map. That's just an expression that people use, rappers in particular, to say that, look, I want to carry my brand and my people to the world. I still have that dream, but my dream now it's a lot bigger and submitted to God. I would like to see people saved and people, receive Christ as their Lord and Savior. So since I've been saved and been serious about God, my main goal as an artist is to win souls for Christ and at the same time affect every generation of my music can possibly be related to. So, yeah, that's why I do music.
What does the Untitled album means to you?
Well, this album is a personal one. Even in the execution of me doing it, I chose to do a lot in terms of I wanted to do all the singing, all the feelings, everything because it was personal to me. And it represents my transcending, if that's the right word, as an artist in Guyana. And it represents me coming up with a sound that honestly suits me and not just trying to emulate the guys that I idolized as a young person. So, Untitled.
And what would you want it to mean to the listeners?
Well, what I want people to get from Untitled is, as they listen to it, I want them to get the idea that, look, no dream is too big. That's one. Two, you are to give your best at everything that you do. Even though I don't actually talk about those things. I talk about several different things, but that's the feeling that I want them to have when they listen to those songs. Because I gave my everything on these songs, and you can probably feel it on some of them. But when you listen to it, I want you to feel like, look, sometimes you might not know where you're going and what you are about as somebody, but hold on to the vision of your dreams and who you are as a person. It can be as a Christian person, it can be just as a person. You are somebody, and you don't always have to be titled or captioned, but you are there, and you keep holding on to that one knowing or the idea of, hey, I'm someone until I get to fully understand who I am.
All right, tell us about the track now. What does each track talk about?
All right, so this album is a compilation of 10 lovely tracks, and on the intro I basically give like an inside scoop of where my life has gone in like a summary, right? And the intro basically speaks for itself. When you hear it, it's very straightforward, and I just hope that when you guys listen to it, it's more than just groovy, but you feel it, because it's one of those songs that I did for you to feel every single line, every single word, every single whatever it is, you understand? But yeah, the intro. Destiny talks about an artist or anybody at that fact that would like to be used by God. As a Christian, I wholeheartedly believe that you can do nothing without God, right? No matter how much plans you have, they must be submitted to God. Your will must be submitted to God. So destiny is my representation of me submitting my will to God as an artist, as a person. And I wanted him to rule my destiny. Initially, the idea for destiny was to imitate or resemble that of Buji Banton song. What was it again? I can't remember it right now, the melody or whatever. But I want to rule my destiny, right? So, but as a Christian, we don't rule our destinies, we submit it. So I wanted to like capture the idea of destiny in that sense, as in where I go in this life, but in the sense of understanding that I give it to Christ, or that I give it to God. You understand? So Jesus ruled my destiny. Yeah. The third song on the album is my breakout song. It's a song that defined me as a Guyanese vocalist. I'm not really a singer person. I normally would rap, but I always had that mellow vibe, that kind of flow thing going on. So my producer argued with me strongly one day, and he was like, "Yo, pull up a Afro beat." And I was like, nah. I was scared, right? I was scared. But eventually I did it, not knowing that I had already written a song to that kind of style. And I wanted it to resemble Guyanese culture. It's kind of hard to write like that after so many years of trying to emulate people overseas, of course. But yeah, the idea was for me to do a song that all of my fellow Guyanese people could vibe with, and at the same time point you to Christ. So rock represented that, and rock also represented the song that I would master. I love it. And that's my new song, or one of my songs. Bass jumping. Bass jumping is personal for me. Bass jumping basically represents me, the parts of me that I don't talk about, the parts of me that only God knows, and the parts of me that is affected by everyday life and by what people think. It's a lot of lyrics, and people tend to tell me that I'm deep, right? One of the things that I've had to do as an artist is dumb down my lyrics, because I grew up listening to guys that lyricism was everything for them. You understand? And I would do that too much sometimes. I even did a post on Facebook some time ago where I was talking about how deep I would write my songs, and sometimes it would be hard for me to resonate that on stage, because all of the thought went into the writing process, not really the execution, if I'm to be honest. But bass jumping now represented me evolving, but at the same time, in evolving, I would do it in a way that people can understand. Bass jumping refers to me going into God's love, not being worried about what people think about me as an artist, or you shouldn't be worried about what people think about you as whatever you are, because some of us wants to do music, some of us want to do simple things. But bass jumping basically represented that. The concept of the song is in the video, and it shows, sometimes you just gotta jump out, take all risk, and trust that God is gonna guide us. So yeah, the fifth song is Intimacy. Intimacy speaks for itself. Sometimes you get busy, sometimes we tend to leave God in the back seat, and we need to slow down and not get cold, or even worse, lukewarm. We need to be intimate with God, because He is a personal God and He deals with relationship. So intimacy represented me longing for God's presence. And I hope that every person that listens to it is affected by it that much, that they'd want to exhibit that which they hear, And that's something that we really, really focus on in Guyana or in the Caribbean, our relationship with Christ as Christians. It's not just about going to church, but we long for God's presence. And we get blessings, right? After intimacy is blessings. Blessings is a collaboration with my good friend Gavri. And if you notice, when you listen to the album, I only had two features. And I have a lot of musical friends. The reason why I only had two features is because, again, it's a personal album, and I wanted it to have so much of me, because there was a lot that I had to say about what was on my mind, and things that I wanted to relate and speak on, But yeah, Gavri came in, slated on the second verse, and that point of the whole song is talking about how our real blessing in life, or our real blessing as Christians, is not the things that God gives us physically, but His presence and the fact that we're going to live with Him eternally, from this life to the next. That was the concept that I wanted to jump out. That, it's more than just physical stuff, it's more than just prosperity, it's more than just talking in tongues even. It's about the fact that, my true gift is the gift of eternal life with this awesome God. Like, And then there is dominion. Now, as Christians, right, let me be real. There's so many times that we sway from this whole reminder that Christ is coming back. Yeah, He's still coming back. And I wanted to focus on the return of Christ, because sometimes we tend to not talk about it, And I want it to always be at the forefront of everybody's mind. Christ is still coming back, and He can come very soon, right? We don't know the exact time and date, but trust me, He's coming. And I wanted that to be on my album. I wanted that message to be singled out. Yeah, don't play no games. Christ is coming back, and He's coming as King. Body shut it down, taking over everything. You understand? I wanted people to get that message. I slid the verse, of course. I talked about the fact that, a lot of things has been going on. And then I dropped Jarmo, the guy that did most of the mixing and mastering. Shout out Jarmo. And he slayed his verse. It's still my favorite verse today from any feature that I've had. I like love songs. You understand? It's just me thing as a Christian rapper. It's always been my vision to relate my experience of love and the things that I've dealt with relationships, heartbreaks, emotional stuff, man. I try to deal with the whole man as a rapper. Whole man being that your emotional aspect, your spiritual aspect, your mental aspect, right? As a Christian rapper, by the way. And on a love song, I give like an inside scoop of the things that I dealt with from my marriage. I give some personal background stuff, like for example, how me and my wife's family background is different. She came from a family that is nuclear, and they are organized, father, mother, what's not. I came from a family that wasn't like that. I came from a single parent home, and it was just my detailing of my summary basically that I had with my wife. And I hope that you guys love the song and that it becomes a wedding song. I'm serious. Number 9 is Her. Her spoke about the fact that I don't like this whole side chick vibe that I was feeling. I heard the side chick song by Shensia, and I was like, nah man, I gotta counteract this. Women are queens, they're beauties. I did a song on beauties, by the way. Check it out. I'm only human too. I'm only human one. But yeah, I wanted to counteract that whole ideology that women are ever suited to be side chicks. I want women to know that they are not side chicks, they're queens. They deserve to be brides, if they want to get married. Not everybody wants to get married, but the whole idea is, should you want to get married, you deserve that ring, and you shouldn't be selling yourself short because somebody wants some action. You understand? So I wanted to touch on that. I found the melody, I wrote it, and that was it. I made sure that I was clear on the track, and I hope that women that hear it are encouraged to see themselves as queens, man, and deserve the ring. You feel me? But yeah. And number 10 is my personal testimony / thank you, gratitude, acknowledgement, big up Jesus, thank you for saving me song. Because I've been a very disgusting youth man, and God has been very faithful, and I'm thankful for that. So I wanted to make a song that is straightforward. Thank you. There's so many times I could have died, but you kept me, and things like this, straightforward. So
what can we expect your next moves and plans to be?
My next moves and my plans. Well, next year, starting from next year in 2021, I want to continue doing music every quarter of the year. Yeah. I would like to drop songs and then at the ending of the year drop EPs or album or whatever. But I don't want to do music as heavy as I did this year. But I'm gonna be doing music every quarter. So every 4 months, this is every quarter, right? Every 4 months, expect a music video and a lit song from me. A song that's gonna be a banger or it's gonna be a turn up, whatever. But the point is, I'll be consistent and I'm gonna be bringing and giving Christ to the world, and I'm gonna be giving you pieces of me with sincerity.
All right, great. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us. Do you want to give any shout outs to any colleagues, friends, other rappers of yours?
All right, big thanks to all the features on this album, and that is Jarmo and Gavri. Both exceptional artists. You should check them out. I'm going to leave their links in the description. Aside from that, I'd like to thank Adri, big man, AJ Records, world boss. You understand? Not cartel. But Adri, the legend, the legendary, right? That's his slogan, legendary. I'd like to thank you, bro, for basically like giving me that push and helping me to come out of my comfort zone in this album and to not be typical. I'd like to thank my wife for the support. I know enough of y'all noticed since I'm married, I'm pushing harder than before, and it's because I have the support factor now from my lovely wife, and she can even sing, so she be dropping the melodies and the bars with me. But yeah, I like to thank Jarmo as well. He did most of the mixing on the song, or you could say about on the songs. You could say about half of the mixing and mastering of the entire album. And boy, did he grow as he mixed and he mastered. I owe these guys a lot. And lastly, but most importantly, I'd like to thank God for giving me the inspiration to write the songs that I did. And with all the highs and lows that I experienced, it was worthwhile, man. I experienced a lot of highs and lows trying to complete this album, but I'm glad that it's finally here. And let's thank you guys. And I would like to thank you for going and get my album.